She left work every day carrying empty cardboard boxes. Her colleagues laughed, called her crazy, until one businessman decided to follow her. And when he discovered the truth, the world stopped to weep. Larissa folded the last cardboard box with care, as if handling something sacred. Her calloused hands trembled slightly, not from exhaustion, but from something no one there could possibly understand. 6 p.m., end of shift, at the Central Distribution Warehouse in Germiston. And she was doing exactly what she had done every single day for 3 years, stacking empty boxes destined for the trash. "Here comes the crazy box lady." Patricia's voice cut through the depot like a razor. 3 employees immediately turned their heads. "I bet she lives in a shack made of cardboard." The laughter exploded. Larissa didn't lift her eyes, continuing to fold them one by one with that strange delicacy that made everyone even more curious. Each perfect crease, each exact fold, as if those old boxes, dusty and stained with oil, were hidden treasures that only she could see. "Hey, Larissa!" Andre shouted from across the warehouse, provoking, "Are you going to build a cardboard mansion or sell them to buy food?" More laughter, always more laughter. Larissa took a deep breath, pressed her lips together, and continued her work. 43 years old, hair pulled back in a simple bun, a faded blue uniform from countless washes, and that quiet way of someone who had learned to swallow humiliation with her morning tea. She was neither ugly nor beautiful. She was invisible, the kind of person society looks at and forgets the next second, until she started taking the boxes home. Then everyone noticed. "Guys, can you believe she asked the supervisor for permission to take rubbish home?" Patricia continued, now speaking loudly on purpose. "Who asks permission to take rubbish? It must be a mental illness. It's the only explanation." Larissa bit her lower lip hard, tasted blood, but she wouldn't cry. "Not here, not in front of them. Leave the woman alone, folks," Roberto murmured without conviction. But no one paid attention. The truth was, no one understood. How could they? Those people lived in a world where cardboard was trash, where things only had value if they cost money, where people like Larissa were just part of the scenery, like a street lamp or a rubbish bin. That's when Denise entered the depot. The supervisor had that kind of presence that made the air heavier. In her early 30s, perfectly coiffed hair, impeccable makeup even after 8 hours of work, and a smile that never reached her eyes. She commanded that sector like a war general, and everyone knew it. Denise didn't like Larissa, never had. "My goodness," Denise said loudly, stopping in front of the pile of boxes Larissa had separated. "Has this place turned into a junkyard now? What is this situation?" Deadly silence. Larissa slowly raised her eyes. "Good afternoon, Denise. They're just the boxes that were going to be thrown out. Mr. Sifo from the storeroom already authorized me to take them. Like always." "Like always," Denise repeated, dragging out the words with contempt. "Larissa, dear, don't you think it's strange leaving here every day looking like a cardboard scavenger? It gives the company a terrible image." "A terrible image is the salary we earn," Roberto mumbled softly, but Denise pretended not to hear. "I just want to understand," the supervisor continued, crossing her arms. "What on earth do you want these old boxes for? Are you going to set up a roadside stall, sell them at the market, or do you actually live inside them?" The laughter that erupted was cruel. Patricia almost choked from laughing so hard. Marcos clapped. Even Roberto, who had defended Larissa seconds earlier, let out a nervous chuckle. Larissa felt her chest tighten, her hands trembled more, but her voice came out firm, controlled, almost eerily calm. "I do crafts." Silence. Then general laughter. "Crafts," Denise repeated, theatrically putting a hand to her forehead. "Folks, Larissa makes crafts with cardboard boxes. How chic. I bet she sells them in a modern art gallery, right? She must make picture frames to sell at the traffic light," Patricia added between laughs. "Ardaghoos," Andre chimed in. Larissa clenched her fists, felt her nails digging into her palms, took 3 deep breaths, just as the psychologist at the local clinic had taught her years ago. "I don't sell anything. I give them as gifts." "Give them as gifts?" Denise widened her eyes in feigned surprise. "To whom?" "To the homeless people in the square, to the street dogs, to the children in my community." This time the silence was different, heavier, because there was something in Larissa's voice that made even Denise stop laughing for a second. "Children," the supervisor repeated slowly, recovering her scornful tone. "You make cardboard toys for poor children. How touching. And do they actually play with them or throw them away on the first day?" Larissa swallowed hard. She thought of Melissa, the 6-year-old girl who lived 3 houses down. She remembered her smile when she received the hand-painted cardboard doll. She remembered her sleeping, clutching that doll for weeks. "They love them," Larissa answered softly. "Some children have never had a toy in their lives. So, yes, they love them." For a moment, something flickered across Denise's face. Perhaps discomfort, perhaps shame, but it lasted less than a second. "Look, Larissa." The supervisor sighed. "I understand you have a good heart, okay? But this is a professional environment. You leaving here every day laden with old boxes as if you were homeless doesn't make a good impression. Clients come, suppliers come, you understand? I always take them after hours." Larissa tried to argue. "No one sees me. Everyone sees you," Patricia interrupted. "We laugh at you every day." The sentence fell like a bomb. Larissa blinked several times, felt something burning in her eyes. No, she wouldn't cry. She wouldn't give them that satisfaction. "All right," she said at last, her voice faltering. "I'm sorry if I caused embarrassment. I'll take fewer boxes. Or none. None would be better for everyone," Denise suggested with false sympathy. It was at that moment that the depot door opened. Rodrigo Almeida entered with that presence that wealthy men naturally possess. An impeccable gray suit, gleaming Italian shoes, perfectly styled gray hair. In his 50s, successful, owner of a supermarket chain that had just closed a multi-million rand partnership with the central distribution warehouse. He had only come to inspect the facilities before signing the final contracts, but he stopped. He stopped because he saw that scene. A woman in a blue uniform, surrounded by laughing colleagues, a supervisor spewing venom disguised as professionalism, and a painful silence that screamed louder than any words. "Excuse me," Rodrigo said in a firm voice, drawing attention. "Is everything all right here?" Denise spun around, her face transforming instantly. A professional smile, an upright posture, a sweet voice. "Mr. Rodrigo, what a pleasure. Everything's wonderful. Just a misunderstanding between employees. Nothing serious." Rodrigo didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on Larissa, more specifically on the cardboard boxes she held, as if they were the most precious things in the world. "Are those boxes going to be thrown out?" he asked directly to Larissa. She hesitated, looked at Denise, looked at her colleagues, all in deadly silence. "Yes, sir. And you take them home?" "Yes, sir." "For what?" The question hung in the air. Denise opened her mouth to answer for Larissa, but Rodrigo raised his hand, cutting her off. "Let her answer." Larissa took a deep breath. She felt everyone looking. She felt the judgment, the morbid curiosity, the expectation of humiliation, but she thought of the children. She thought of Melissa, she thought of Isabella, her daughter who was gone, and the promise she made at the cemetery. "I turn them into toys," Larissa said, her voice choked. "And I give them to the children in my community, the ones who have nothing." Absolute silence. Rodrigo stood still, processing, looked at the boxes, looked at Larissa, looked at the employees who were laughing seconds ago and were now as silent as stones. "I understand," he said simply. He turned his back and walked out, but Larissa didn't see what he did after leaving the door. She didn't see Rodrigo stop in the corridor, lean against the wall, and close his eyes tightly. She didn't see him take a deep breath, clenching his fists, as something inside him broke and rebuilt at the same time. And she definitely didn't see him pick up his phone, call his driver, and say, "Cancel my appointments for today. I need to follow someone." Because Rodrigo Almeida had built a supermarket empire in 20 years, had closed multi-million rand deals, had dined with politicians, celebrities, powerful businessmen, but never in his life had he seen anyone hold trash as if it were gold, and that deeply disturbed him. So he waited. He waited for Larissa to leave work at 7 p.m. He waited for her to stack 9 folded cardboard boxes. He waited for her to walk to the bus stop, bent under the weight, sweating in the heat, but smiling to herself. And when the bus departed, Rodrigo got into his car and started following. Because sometimes we need to see with our own eyes to believe that good people still exist in the world. And he was about to discover something that would change everything. The bus rattled along the main road, past rows of jacaranda trees, as Larissa held the 9 folded cardboard boxes against her chest. It was packed, as always at that hour. People returning from work, tired, sweaty, with that empty look of those who repeat the same routine for years. She managed to find a small spot near the window, rested her head against the dirty glass, and closed her eyes for an instant. She didn't notice the black car following 3 vehicles behind. Rodrigo Almeida was driving personally, something he hadn't done in years. Normally, he had a driver for everything, but today was different. Today, he needed to understand. He needed to discover what on earth a humble woman did with old boxes that was worth being publicly humiliated for. The bus stopped in Thabong, a township Rodrigo had never set foot in. Narrow streets, simple houses crammed together, low walls, stray dogs, children playing on the pavement, even with the setting sun. It was another world, a world he pretended didn't exist whenever he drove past on the main avenue. Larissa got off, holding the boxes with difficulty. Rodrigo parked 2 blocks behind, turned off the engine, and simply observed. She started walking slowly. The boxes were light, but bulky. Larissa had to stop at every corner to adjust the weight in her arms. Sweat ran down her forehead. Her blue uniform was soaked on her back, but she didn't let go of those boxes for a second. Rodrigo got out of his car, locked it, and began to follow on foot, keeping his distance. 3 blocks later, Larissa turned onto a dirt road, dust rising with each step. Even simpler houses, but all with a detail that caught Rodrigo's attention. Clean, poor, but dignified. Improvised flower pots made from paint cans, hand-painted walls in vibrant colors, clotheslines full of laundry swaying in the wind. It was poverty, but it was poverty with a soul. Larissa stopped in front of a small house, painted light yellow, with only one window in front and a crooked wooden gate. She pushed the gate open with her hip, entered the tiny yard, and the house door opened even before she knocked. Auntie Larissa. 5 children ran out of the neighbor's house, crossing the yard, jumping the low wall, all shouting at once. Boys and girls between 5 and 10 years old, barefoot, patched clothes, but with smiles that lit up the entire street. Rodrigo stopped behind a lamppost and watched. Larissa gently placed the boxes on the ground, opened her arms, and was engulfed by 5 children, hugging her all at once. Laughter, squeals, questions all at once. Auntie, did you bring the boxes? What are you going to make today? Can you make a doll for me? I want a truck like Joao's. Larissa laughed. A clean, true laugh. So different from the sad smile she wore at work. Calm down. Calm down. Let me come inside first, everyone. She picked up the boxes again and entered the small house. The children followed behind like ducklings. Rodrigo discreetly approached, staying outside, hidden behind the neighbor's wall. Through the half-open window, he could see, and what he saw made something clench in his chest. The house was tiny, living room and kitchen in the same space. An old but clean sofa, covered with a crocheted blanket. A small wooden table with 3 mismatched chairs. An old stove, a noisy refrigerator, a sink with a dripping tap. On the walls, faded photo frames. And in a corner, an improvised shrine with a candle, a small cross, and a photo of a girl. A girl of about 8 years old, smiling, holding a lollipop. Rodrigo knew instantly. Isabella, the daughter Larissa had lost. Larissa placed the boxes on the table, picked up old scissors, yellowed masking tape, white glue, worn markers, and some fabric scraps. The children sat on the floor in a circle, waiting in respectful silence. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a little aeroplane, Larissa announced, picking up one of the boxes. But it's not just any little aeroplane. It's a little aeroplane that really flies. It really flies, Auntie. It flies. Tomorrow we'll test it in the street. Their little eyes shone. Rodrigo leaned closer to the window, practically glued to the wall. He needed to hear, needed to understand. Larissa began to cut the cardboard with impressive skill, her hands quick, precise, transforming that old box into wings, a body, a tail, each cut perfect, each fold exact. She explained each step with infinite patience, repeating when someone didn't understand, praising when they got it right. Very good. Miguel, you're becoming an artist. Melissa, be careful with the scissors. Let me cut this part for you. Joao, your aeroplane is looking beautiful. See? Rodrigo felt a lump in his throat. That woman, humiliated at work, tired from a full day of cleaning, was there in her house, teaching poor children to transform trash into dreams, for free, out of love. Auntie Larissa, the smallest, a 5-year-old girl named Melissa, asked with that thin child's voice, "Why do you do this for us?" Larissa stopped cutting the cardboard. Her hands trembled slightly. She looked at Isabella's photo on the wall, took a deep breath, and replied with a choked voice, "Because when I was little, my mother didn't have money to give me toys, and when I grew up and had my daughter, I didn't either. My Isabella spent her entire life without ever having a real doll, a real car, nothing. I promised her. I promised I would make it different for other children." Silence. The children looked at the photo on the wall. Some already knew the story. Others were hearing it for the first time. "Your daughter went to heaven, right, Auntie?" Joao asked softly. "She did, my child. But she's watching us from there, I'm sure. And do you know what she's seeing? She's seeing you happy, playing, smiling. And that makes her happy too." Melissa stood up, crossed the circle of children, and hugged Larissa tightly. "We love you, Auntie." Larissa broke down. She cried. She hugged that little girl as if she were the daughter she lost, and cried silently, only quiet tears streaming down her tired face. Rodrigo, outside, covered his mouth with his hand. He was crying too. A man in his 50s, owner of an empire, who had never cried in business meetings, who had never shown weakness in front of anyone, was there, hidden behind a wall, crying like a child because he had just understood something devastating. He had everything: a mansion, cars, money, power, respect, but he had never made anyone smile the way that poor woman made those children smile. He had never transformed trash into joy, never given anything truly meaningful to anyone. The children went back to making their aeroplanes. Larissa wiped her tears, took a deep breath, and continued teaching. Half an hour later, each child had a colorful, hand-painted, personalized aeroplane. "Tomorrow we'll test them," Larissa announced. "Now everyone go home for dinner before your mothers get angry with me." Laughter, hugs. "Thank you, Auntie. I love you, Auntie Larissa. See you tomorrow." The children ran out, each holding their aeroplane as if it were the greatest treasure in the world. Rodrigo hid completely behind the wall as they passed. He waited for them to disappear around the corner. When he looked through the window again, he saw Larissa sitting alone at the table. She picked up the last cardboard box, began to make a small, delicate doll, with fabric scraps forming a blue dress, and as she made it, she talked to herself. "Hi, my love. Mommy made another batch today. 5 happy children. Did you see from up there? Miguel is almost able to make them by himself now. And Melissa is just like you know? Gentle, affectionate, always hugging everyone." Rodrigo felt his legs weaken. Larissa was making that doll for her dead daughter. "Today was hard at work again," she continued, talking to the photo. "Denise humiliated me in front of everyone, but it's okay. I can handle it. I've handled worse, right? My daughter, the important thing is that I'm keeping our promise. No child on this street will go through what you went through. I promise you." She finished the doll, stood up, and carefully placed it on the improvised shrine next to Isabella's photo. "This one's yours, my love. I saved the most beautiful box, just for you." She kissed her fingers, touched the photo, and whispered, "Mommy loves you, always will." Rodrigo couldn't take it anymore. He turned his back, walked away, returned to his car with faltering steps, got in, closed the door, and collapsed. He cried. He cried as he hadn't cried since he was a child, because he had just seen the purest, most beautiful, most devastatingly human thing he had ever seen in his entire life. A mother who had lost everything, but decided that other children wouldn't lose anything. Rodrigo wiped his face, started the car, and drove home, but he couldn't stop thinking, couldn't get that image out of his head. Larissa, alone in her humble house, making cardboard dolls for her dead daughter. And the next day, when he woke up in his mansion, with an employee serving him breakfast in bed, with a closet bigger than Larissa's entire house, Rodrigo Almeida made a decision. He would change that story, whatever the cost. Because if there was one thing money could do, one thing it could achieve, it was to give that woman what she deserved: respect, dignity, and a happy ending. But before that, he needed proof. He needed to show the world who Larissa really was. So, he picked up the phone and called the best videographer he knew. "I need you to film something for me. Something that will make all of South Africa weep." Larissa woke up with the sound of the gate banging, startled, looked at the clock on the wall. 5:30 a.m. It was still dark outside. Who could it be at that hour? She got out of bed, put on her old slippers, and slowly opened the door. There was no one, but there was a large cardboard box on the ground, sealed with adhesive tape, no sender. Larissa looked at the empty street, only the silence of the early morning and distant barking dogs. She picked up the box, went inside, locked the door, placed the box on the living room table, took a deep breath, and opened it. She froze. Inside were craft materials, but not just any materials. They were expensive, good brand acrylic paints, new brushes still in their packaging, thick, colorful papers, professional quality glue, beautiful, patterned, soft fabrics, satin ribbons, new, sharp scissors. Larissa covered her mouth with her hands. Tears streamed down instantly. "Who did this?" she whispered alone in the empty room. She looked for a note, nothing. Looked for a name, nothing. Just the materials carefully organized, as if someone knew exactly what she needed. She sat in the chair, hugged one of the paint cans, and cried softly. Someone knew, someone cared, but who? On the other side of the city, Rodrigo Almeida had breakfast alone on the veranda of his mansion. He had sent his driver to deliver the box anonymously. He didn't want exposure. He didn't want Larissa to feel indebted, he just wanted to help. But this was only the beginning, because he had other plans, bigger plans. Meanwhile, at the central distribution warehouse, Denise arrived at the office with a venomous smile on her face. She had slept little, but she was excited, because she had finally gotten the perfect ammunition against Larissa. Patricia had done the dirty work the previous Saturday. She had discreetly followed Larissa to her community. She had taken photos. Photos of Larissa with the boxes, photos of the poor children, photos of the humble house, photos of the cardboard toys, and Denise had plans for those photos. She opened the company's WhatsApp group, 230 employees. She posted the first photo, Larissa leaving work carrying boxes. Caption: "Someone forgot to tell Larissa that rubbish is thrown away, not taken home." 3 seconds later, the reaction started. Laughter, comments, "Our official scavenger. She must sell them at the market, folks. She really lives in a cardboard house." Denise posted the second photo, Larissa in the community surrounded by poor children. Caption: "Plot twist. She distributes cardboard toys to children. Seriously? Cardboard, as if it were a real gift." Explosion in the group. LOL. I don't believe it. How embarrassing. Poor children. Homeless kids' toys. Third photo. Close-up of a cardboard aeroplane. Caption: "She thinks this is a toy." Someone called Child Welfare Services. The group became chaos. People sharing, people making memes, people laughing non-stop. No one stopped to think. No one asked for the context. No one cared. Monday morning, Larissa entered work and felt it acutely. Glances, whispers, muffled chuckles. Everyone knew. She passed the reception. The lady averted her gaze. Passed down the corridor. 3 employees stopped talking and fell into an awkward silence. She entered the changing room to change her clothes, and Patricia was there with that smile of someone who had just won the lottery. "Good morning, Larissa." Or should I say, "Good morning, Queen of Cardboard." Loud laughter from 2 other employees who were there. Larissa pretended not to hear, opened her locker, took out her uniform. "Oh, you're not going to answer?" Patricia insisted. "Well, don't you like to do charity? Then do some charity for us here too. Make us a little toy. Maybe it'll brighten our day." More laughter. Larissa closed her eyes, took 3 deep breaths, changed her clothes in silence, but when she went to leave the changing room, Patricia blocked the door. "Larissa, seriously now, do you really think old cardboard is an appropriate gift for a child? Because if so, I have some old boxes here you can take. Rubbish, right? You love it." Larissa looked directly into her eyes. "Get out of the way." "What? Are you going to hit me with a cardboard box?" I said. "Get out of the way." There was something in Larissa's tone that made Patricia step aside. Larissa left, but the humiliation was just beginning. At 10 a.m., she was called into the HR office. Denise was there along with the human resources manager, Mr. Gilberto, a serious man with glasses and an unfriendly face. "Sit, Larissa." Gilberto pointed to the chair. She sat, her heart pounding. "We received a serious complaint," he began, leafing through papers, "about the improper appropriation of company material." Larissa's eyes widened. "What do you mean? The cardboard boxes you take every day?" Denise interjected with false concern. "Technically, they are company property. You don't have formal authorization to take them, but I always asked Mr. Sifo from the storeroom. He always allowed it." "Verbal authorization doesn't count," Gilberto said dryly. "It needed to be in writing, and it wasn't. But they were boxes going to the trash." "That's irrelevant," Denise cut in. "The point is, you took company material without formal authorization. This constitutes a serious offense under internal regulations." Larissa felt the floor give way beneath her. "Are you serious?" "Completely," Gilberto replied. "Furthermore, there are reports that you use these boxes for private activities outside working hours, which could compromise the company's image if someone associates the materials with our brand." "I make toys for poor children," Larissa exploded, tears welling up. "Children who have nothing. I don't sell them. I don't profit. I don't do anything wrong." "That doesn't change the fact that you violated the regulations," Denise said with surgical coldness. Gilberto adjusted his glasses. "Larissa, considering the seriousness of the situation and your years of service here, we will not proceed with dismissal for gross misconduct, but you will be suspended for 7 days without pay while we conduct an internal investigation." 7 days without pay? Larissa's voice came out thin, desperate. "I can't go without pay. I have bills to pay." "You should have thought of that before taking material that wasn't yours," Denise said. And there was evident pleasure in her voice. Larissa looked at Denise, saw the hidden smile at the corners of her mouth, and understood everything. It was persecution. It was pure malice. "You may leave," Gilberto said. "The suspension begins today. Return next Monday." Larissa stood, her legs shaky, and left the room. In the corridor, several employees were casually nearby, listening to everything. When she passed, they lowered their heads or averted their gaze. No one helped. No one defended her. Larissa picked up her things from her locker, left the distribution center at 11 a.m. on a Monday in broad daylight, with everyone watching, the walk of shame. She arrived home devastated, sat on the sofa, hugged her knees, and cried. She cried everything she had held back for years. She cried for the daughter she lost. She cried for the constant humiliation. She cried for the injustice. And she cried because she had no money to get through the week. There was a knock on the door. Larissa quickly wiped her face, stood up, opened it. It was Melissa. The 6-year-old girl had a worried little face, holding the hand of her younger brother, a boy of about 4, thin, with huge, frightened eyes. "Auntie Larissa," Melissa said with a tearful voice. "My little brother is very sad." Larissa knelt down to the children's height. "Why, my love?" "Because he never had a toy. Never. And he saw me playing with my little aeroplane that you made. And he cried. He cried a lot." "Auntie, can you make a car for him?" The little boy looked at Larissa with those eyes full of pure hope, and Larissa crumbled inside because she had been suspended. She no longer had access to the boxes from the distribution center. She had no money to buy new materials, and there was a 4-year-old child looking at her as if she were the only person in the world who could make his happiness happen. Larissa began, her voice choked. "I'll figure it out, okay? I promise." Melissa smiled. "I knew it. You always figure it out. You're magic." The children left. Larissa closed the door, leaned against it, and slid to the floor. She looked at the box of expensive materials she had mysteriously received. She looked at Isabella's photo on the wall. "What do I do now, my daughter?" she whispered. "What do I do?" And that's when the phone rang. An unknown number. Larissa answered with a tired voice. "Hello, Larissa." The voice was masculine, firm, gentle. "My name is Rodrigo Almeida. We met briefly at the distribution center a few days ago." Larissa frowned, trying to remember. The businessman? "That's right. Can I ask you a question?" "You can. Do you still make toys for the children?" Silence. "How do you know that, sir?" I saw everything, and I need to tell you something. You are the most incredible person I have ever met." Larissa felt tears returning. "Sir, I don't know what you're talking about. I followed you home. I saw you with the children. I saw the toys. I saw the photo of your daughter. I saw the doll you made for her, and I cried. Larissa, I cried like a child." Larissa covered her mouth, trying to hold back her sobs. "I want to help you," Rodrigo continued. "But first I need you to trust me. I need your permission to do something that will change everything." "What thing?" "I want to film a video of the children receiving your toys, their testimonials, Isabella's story, and I want to show this video to everyone." "Why?" "Because you deserve respect, and I'm going to make the whole world see who you really are." Larissa closed her eyes, thought of Denise, thought of the humiliations, thought of the laughter, and thought of the children. "You can film it," she said. "If it helps one child have a toy, you can film it." Rodrigo smiled on the other end of the line. "Thank you. And Larissa, hold on tight, because the storm isn't over yet, but after it comes the sun." The week of suspension passed slowly. 7 days that felt like 7 years. Larissa lived on noodles and sausages, rice and eggs, and the leftovers she miraculously managed to stretch. But she didn't starve. And, more importantly, she managed to make the car for Melissa's little brother using the materials she had mysteriously received. When she delivered the toy, the little boy hugged her with such force that he almost knocked them both to the ground. It was worth every second of humiliation. Monday arrived. Larissa returned to work with a churning stomach. She knew it would be difficult. She knew everyone would still be talking, but she needed the salary. So, she took a deep breath, put on her blue uniform, and went. When she entered the distribution center, she felt a different atmosphere. There was a strange agitation in the air. Colorful banners hung from the ceiling, balloons, background music with animated tunes, employees talking animatedly in the corridors. "What day is today?" Larissa asked Roberto, who was passing by carrying boxes. "Didn't you get the memo? Today is the company's annual event, an end-of-cycle get-together. There will be presentations, tributes, raffles, all that stuff." Larissa's heart sank. An event with everyone together, with Denise in charge. This wasn't going to end well, Is it mandatory to attend? She asked softly. Of course. Mandatory attendance in the auditorium at 3 p.m. Board directive. Larissa spent the day cleaning the administrative section's bathrooms with that heavy feeling in her chest. Every time someone passed, they looked at her with that gaze, half pity, half amusement. No one said anything, but the looks said it all. At 2:30, employees began to head to the auditorium. The distribution center had a large space, used for training and events, with a capacity for 300 people, a stage with a giant screen, professional sound, and lighting. It was a serious event, with important clients, suppliers, and business partners. Larissa entered and found a corner at the back. She wanted to be invisible, but Denise had other plans. "Larissa," the supervisor called loudly from the middle of the auditorium. "Come sit here in front. Today there's a special surprise." Muffled chuckles. Larissa felt her blood run cold. "No, thank you. I prefer to stay here." "I insist," Denise said with that false smile. "You are an important part of today's event." Everyone's eyes turned to Larissa. She had no choice. She walked down the central aisle, feeling the weight of 200 people watching. She sat in a chair in the second row that Denise indicated. Her hands trembled, cold sweat on the back of her neck. The auditorium filled completely. Employees, directors, clients, suppliers. Rodrigo Almeida was there too, sitting discreetly in the back rows, observing everything. At exactly 3 p.m., the lights dimmed. The event began. Gilberto, the HR manager, went up on stage. "Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our annual get-together. Today we will celebrate achievements, honor dedicated employees, and, of course, have a little fun." Polite applause. To start, we have prepared a special presentation about some of our most unique employees. Denise went up on stage beside him, holding a remote control. Larissa felt her stomach churn. The giant screen lit up, and the first image that appeared was of her, Larissa, leaving the distribution center carrying cardboard boxes. Laughter erupted in the auditorium. "Folks, do you know Larissa?" Denise asked into the microphone, pointing to her in the audience. "Stand up, Larissa. Let everyone see you." Larissa remained paralyzed in her chair. "Oh, don't be shy," Denise insisted. "Stand up." Patricia, sitting behind Larissa, pushed her shoulder. "Get up already." Larissa slowly stood up, her legs shaky. The entire audience turned to look. Camera flashes, people taking photos. "That's right. This is our Larissa," Denise continued excitedly. "And do you know what her hobby is?" Expectant silence. "She collects rubbish." An explosion of laughter. Larissa felt tears burning in her eyes. "No, seriously," Denise continued, advancing the slide on the screen. "Every single day she leaves here looking like a cardboard scavenger. And look what she does with these old boxes." The next image appeared. Larissa in the community surrounded by poor children. She distributes cardboard toys to children. Folks, cardboard, as if it were a real gift. More laughter, more people taking photos. Larissa was trembling all over, tears streaming down. Next slide. Close-up of the handmade toys. Look at this. Little aeroplane made from an old box. Doll made from dirty cardboard. And she thinks this is an appropriate gift for a child. Denise was laughing so hard she had to pause to breathe. "Someone called Child Welfare Services." The audience was hysterical. People clapping, people laughing loudly, some embarrassed, but laughing along with the majority. "Larissa, dear," Denise turned to the microphone, looking directly at her. "Tell me something. Do you really, honestly, think these old, dirty boxes are good for anything useful?" Absolute silence, waiting for the answer. Larissa opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her throat was constricted. She felt the entire auditorium spinning around her. "Aren't you going to answer?" Denise provoked. "Ah, I understand. It must be shame, right, to admit that you distribute rubbish to poor little children." Larissa broke down, fell back into her chair, covered her face with her hands, and cried. She cried uncontrollably. Sobs came out loud, unable to be held back, and the audience continued laughing, taking photos, recording videos, sharing on WhatsApp groups. It was then that a voice cut through the auditorium like a blade. "Enough." Everyone turned. Rodrigo Almeida was standing at the back of the auditorium. Silence fell like a stone. Denise's eyes widened, recognizing the important businessman. "Mr. Rodrigo, what a pleasure to have you here. Are you enjoying the—" I said. "Enough," Rodrigo repeated, starting to walk down the central aisle towards the stage. "Turn off that screen now." Gilberto blinked in confusion. "Mr. Almeida, with all due respect, this is an internal event of our company. And I am the main investor in the business partnership that keeps this company running, Rodrigo cut in, stepping onto the stage. So, turn that nonsense off now. Denise quickly turned off the screen. Rodrigo took the microphone from her hand without asking permission. He turned to the audience. 300 people in deadly silence. Do you find this funny? He asked, his voice firm but controlled. Do you find it funny to humiliate someone publicly? Do you find it funny to laugh at another person's kindness? No one responded. Before you continue laughing, Rodrigo continued. Before you continue taking photos to post in your little WhatsApp groups, before you continue thinking you are better than this woman, I need you to see something. He gestured to someone at the back of the auditorium. A man entered with a laptop, connected it to the system. The screen lit up again, but this time the image was different. It was a video. It began with the scene of Larissa folding cardboard boxes in her humble little house. This here, Rodrigo narrated, is Larissa's house. A simple, clean, dignified home. And it's here that the magic you laughed at happens. The video continued. It showed Larissa cutting the cardboard with incredible skill, painting, gluing, transforming trash into art. The audience was quiet. The next scene, children arriving at her house and the explosion of joy when they received the toys. A little girl jumping, a little boy hugging a cardboard car as if it were gold. Another child crying with happiness with a hand-painted doll. The audience began to swallow hard. These children, Rodrigo continued, his voice choked, have never had a toy in their lives. Did you hear that well? Never. Because their families don't have money, because they live in communities where a toy is a luxury. The video showed testimonials. Melissa saying, Auntie Larissa is my angel. She makes magic with boxes. Miguel, I never had anything. Now I have my little aeroplane. I sleep with it. Joao, when I grow up, I want to be like Auntie Larissa. I want to help children too. The audience was in sepulchral silence, some with tears in their eyes. But there's more, Rodrigo said, his voice breaking. There's a story you need to know. The next image, the photo of Isabella, the little girl smiling with the lollipop. This is Isabella, Larissa's daughter. She passed away a few years ago, and do you know why Larissa makes these toys? Silence. Because Isabella never had a real toy. Larissa didn't have money, and her daughter died without ever having played with a doll, without ever having had a car, without ever having felt the joy that you laughed at 5 minutes ago. People started crying in the audience. Denise was pale in the corner of the stage. Larissa made a promise, Rodrigo continued, at her daughter's grave. She promised that no child in her community would go through what Isabella went through. And she keeps that promise every single day, alone, for free, with boxes that were going to be thrown out. The video showed the final scene. Larissa placing a doll on Isabella's shrine, talking to her daughter's photo. Mommy loves you, always will. The audience broke down, people openly weeping, sobs throughout the entire auditorium. Rodrigo turned to the microphone with tears streaming down his face. In 3 years, Larissa has made 1,200 toys. 1,200. All by herself, all for free. While you were laughing at her, while you were calling her crazy, while you were humiliating her, she was changing the world. One toy at a time. Absolute silence. Rodrigo looked at Denise. You asked if the boxes serve any useful purpose. I answer, they serve to make children cry with joy. They serve to teach about kindness. They serve to remind us there are people in the world worth more than all of us combined. Denise bowed her head. Rodrigo turned to the audience. Who is poor here? The woman who transforms trash into love, or you who transform kindness into a joke? No one answered. And then it happened. One person stood up, then another, then 3 more, then 10. And suddenly the entire auditorium was standing, all looking at Larissa, and they began to clap slowly at first, then stronger, until it became a standing ovation. Larissa lifted her face, saw 300 people standing, applauding her, many crying. I'm sorry, someone shouted through tears. Forgive me, another said. Forgive me, Larissa. Patricia fell to her knees in front of her, sobbing. The ovation continued for almost 2 minutes. 300 people standing, clapping, many with tear-streaked faces. Larissa was sitting, trembling, unable to process what was happening. Minutes ago she was being publicly destroyed. Now she was being applauded by the same audience. Rodrigo came down from the stage and walked to her. He extended his hand. Larissa looked at him, confused, frightened. Stand up, he said gently. Let these people truly see you. Larissa took his hand, stood up with shaky legs, and the ovation grew even stronger. Larissa, Larissa, Larissa. Some people started chanting her name. She covered her face with her hands. crying non-stop. Roberto, the colleague who had always been neutral, approached with heavy steps. "Larissa, I'm an idiot, a cowardly idiot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not defending you when I should have." He hugged her, and Larissa felt his body trembling with sobs. One by one, employees began to approach. "Forgive me, I was horrible to you. Sorry for laughing. Sorry for sharing the photos." Patricia was kneeling on the floor, sobbing. "Larissa, I persecuted you. I took the photos. I passed them to Denise. I'm a piece of human trash. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm begging anyway." Larissa looked at her. For a second, she thought of turning her back, of letting Patricia suffer. But then she remembered the words she always said to Melissa. "To forgive is not to forget, my love. It's to release the weight you carry." "I forgive you," Larissa said softly. Patricia broke down in even stronger sobs. Gilberto, the HR manager, approached with his head bowed. "Larissa, I suspended you unjustly. I was manipulated, but that's no excuse. I will reverse the suspension and return your 7 days' salary with corrections and a bonus for moral damages." Larissa merely nodded, still processing everything, and then all eyes turned to Denise. The supervisor was alone in the corner of the stage, pale, with her arms crossed, trying to maintain some remnant of dignity. Rodrigo went up on stage again, picked up the microphone. "Denise, do you have anything to say?" Deadly silence. Denise looked at the audience, saw 300 pairs of eyes judging her, felt the weight of what she had done. She began, her voice trembling. "I thought I was being funny." A murmur of indignation from the audience. "Funny?" Rodrigo repeated with contempt. "Destroying someone publicly is funny to you? That's not what I meant." Denise tried to explain, but her voice came out weak. "I didn't know the whole story." "If you knew," Rodrigo cut in, "you would have humiliated her just the same. Because the problem isn't not knowing, it's not caring." Denise bowed her head. "You have one last chance," Rodrigo said. "Apologize, truly," looking her in the eyes. Denise slowly descended from the stage, walked to Larissa. The entire audience watched in tense silence. She stood face to face with the woman she had persecuted for years. "Larissa, she began, but her voice failed. She took a deep breath, tried again. "I treated you like trash. I humiliated you, persecuted you, made you suffer, and all because I was jealous." Larissa's eyes widened. "Jealous?" "Yes, jealous," Denise admitted, tears finally falling. "You have something I will never have. You have true kindness. You have purpose. You have love to give. And what do I have? Expensive clothes, a financed car, an empty apartment. I have nothing. I am empty inside." The audience was in absolute silence. "I'm sorry," Denise said, her voice breaking completely. "I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know, you are better than me, always have been, and I hated you for it." Larissa looked at her for long seconds. Then she did something no one expected. She hugged Denise. The supervisor crumbled in her arms, crying like a child. "I forgive you," Larissa whispered. "But you need to forgive yourself too." The audience erupted in tears again. Gilberto went up on stage, picked up the microphone with trembling hands. "Denise, you are dismissed from your supervisory duties, effective immediately, not out of revenge, but because you violated all company ethical codes. You may retrieve your belongings." Denise nodded, accepting it, without fighting, without complaining. She left the auditorium in silence, and when the door closed behind her, Rodrigo returned to the microphone. "Now comes the best part." Larissa looked at him, confused. "Larissa, I want to make you a proposal," Rodrigo said, looking directly at her. "I want to officially fund your project, transform it into a registered NGO with structure, a team, quality materials, and a much wider reach." Larissa covered her mouth with her hands. "I will provide an adequate physical space. I will hire a team of paid volunteers. I will provide all the necessary materials, and you will be the official project coordinator with a decent salary and the recognition you deserve." The audience erupted in applause. "No," Larissa stammered. "It can't be true." "It is true," Rodrigo smiled with tears in his eyes. "And there's more. I've already registered the name of the NGO. If you accept, of course." He gestured for someone to bring something. An employee came up on stage with a framed plaque. Rodrigo showed it to the audience and to the screen. The name was written in beautiful letters. "Toys of the Heart, Isabella Project." Larissa broke down, fell to her knees on the floor, sobbing. "Isabella," she repeated through tears. "My daughter's name." "She deserves to be remembered," Rodrigo said, kneeling beside her. and you deserve to be celebrated. Do you accept?" Larissa looked at him through her tears, looked at the entire audience standing, applauding, looked at her daughter's name on the plaque. "I accept," she whispered. The auditorium exploded. Cheers of celebration, deafening applause, people jumping, hugs all around. Rodrigo helped Larissa to her feet, raised her hand as if she were a champion, and the audience chanted her name again. Larissa, Larissa, Larissa. In the following days, the story leaked. Someone had filmed the entire event on their phone, posted it on social media. The video went viral. In 48 hours, it had 5 million views. Local newspapers sought Larissa for interviews. TV programs called, wanting to tell her story. Companies offered donations for the NGO. The story of the woman who transformed trash into love captivated the country. Larissa was invited to give talks in schools, to speak at solidarity events, to inspire other people. But she never changed. She remained humble, continued to live in the same yellow house, continued to make toys with her own hands. The difference was that now she had help. Roberto resigned from the distribution center and became a full-time volunteer for the NGO. Patricia, devastated by remorse, offered to work for free as Larissa's assistant. Even Denise, weeks later, appeared timidly asking to help. "You don't need to pay me. You don't need to forgive me again. Just let me mend a little of the damage I've done." Larissa accepted, because forgiveness was not just a word to her, it was an action. 1 month after the get-together, the NGO had its own headquarters, a large, colorful warehouse, full of materials, tools, work tables, 20 dedicated volunteers, and more than 100 children attended per week. Rodrigo appeared every Friday to help personally. He had learned to make cardboard aeroplanes. "I never thought I'd trade business meetings for this," he said one day, painting a cardboard doll with Larissa beside him. "But it's the best trade I've ever made." "Why?" Larissa asked. "Because here I don't build fortune. I build happiness. And that is priceless." Larissa smiled, looked around the warehouse, saw children laughing, playing, creating, saw volunteers working with love. She saw piles of cardboard boxes waiting to turn into magic. And for the first time in years, since she lost Isabella, Larissa felt she had found peace, because the promise was being fulfilled. Not just fulfilled, but multiplied. At night, when she returned home, Larissa stopped in front of her daughter's shrine, lit the candle, looked at Isabella's smiling photo. "We did it, my daughter," she whispered. "It's not just me. There are a lot of people helping now. And do you know how many children we've helped since the NGO opened? More than 500. 500 children who are playing, smiling, being happy. Because of you, Isabella. All because of you." She kissed her fingers, touched the photo. "Mommy loves you, always will." And for the first time, Larissa felt that Isabella was truly at peace, because her legacy was not pain, it was multiplied love. 3 weeks after the get-together that changed everything, the Toys of the Heart NGO was officially operational. The colorful warehouse was open Monday to Saturday, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Larissa arrived early every day. With that smile, she no longer needed to hide. Roberto was always there, organizing materials, receiving donations, teaching the children. Patricia arrived soon after, quiet, humble, working in silence, as if she were paying a debt she would never finish paying. And Rodrigo had become part of the family. "Good morning, everyone." He entered the warehouse one Friday morning, carrying new cardboard boxes. "I got more donations from my supermarket chain." The children ran to help. Miguel picked up a box almost his size. Melissa organized everything into a perfect pile. Joao was already separating the best ones to make cars. Larissa looked at that scene and felt her chest warm. It was everything she had always dreamed of, but there was something that still bothered her. Denise, since she was fired from the distribution center, no one had heard from her. She didn't answer calls, didn't reply to messages. She had simply vanished. And Larissa, as much as she had forgiven, felt that something was incomplete. "You're worried about her, aren't you?" Rodrigo asked, noticing Larissa's distant gaze. "I don't know how to explain it. I truly forgave her, but I keep thinking, is she okay?" "You have too big a heart," Rodrigo said, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Most people would want her to suffer, but I'm not most people." It was then that the warehouse door opened slowly, and Denise entered. Everyone froze. She was different. Her hair in a simple bun, no makeup, basic clothes, her eyes red and swollen, as if she had spent weeks crying, thin, pale, with that look of someone who hadn't slept properly in a long time. "Larissa," Denise said with a weak voice, "can I talk to you? Just 2 minutes?" Larissa looked at Rodrigo, who nodded. "Of course." Let's go outside. The two went out into the small yard of the warehouse. They stood in silence for long seconds. I couldn't, Denise began, her voice trembling. I thought that after apologizing, everything would be okay, but it wasn't. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I keep seeing your face in my head, crying in that auditorium, and I hate myself. Larissa remained quiet, letting her speak. I sought help. I started counseling with a psychologist. She made me see things I never wanted to admit, that I was always empty inside, that I hurt others because I didn't know how to deal with my own pain. Tears streamed down Denise's face. I didn't come here to ask for forgiveness again. You've already forgiven me more than I deserve. I came to ask for something else. What? Let me work here at the NGO for free, cleaning the floor, washing toilets, carrying boxes, anything. I don't want money. I don't want recognition. I just want to fix things, even just a little. Larissa looked into her eyes, saw sincerity, saw true pain, saw a broken person trying to rebuild herself. There's one condition, Larissa said. Anything. You'll work here, yes, but not cleaning the floor. You'll teach. Denise's eyes widened. Teach? You're smart, organized. You know how to deal with people. I need someone to coordinate the volunteers, organize schedules, liaise with schools. Can you do that? Denise covered her mouth with her hands, crying. Why are you doing this, after everything I've done? Because everyone deserves a second chance, including you. Denise collapsed in Larissa's arms, crying like a child. And this time it was a cry of healing. In the following months, the NGO flourished in a way no one imagined. Denise became the most dedicated administrative coordinator anyone could have. She worked 12 hours a day, organized everything perfectly, treated each child with a kindness that seemed to compensate for years of bitterness. She really changed, Roberto commented one day to Larissa. At first I doubted it, but she's a different person. People change when we give them space to change, Larissa replied. The NGO began to receive visits from schools. Teachers brought entire classes to learn about the project. Children were enchanted seeing other children transforming cardboard into art. One day, a journalist from national TV appeared. Larissa, we want to do a special feature on the NGO. It will be on the evening news, prime time. Do you accept? Larissa looked at Rodrigo nervously. I've never been on TV. You don't need to do anything. Just be yourself, he said, smiling. The feature aired on a Thursday. 8 minutes of reporting showing the complete story, from the humiliation, through the revelation, to the creation of the NGO. There were testimonials from the children, the volunteers, Rodrigo, and there was a surprise. Denise appeared at the end. I was the cruelest person to Larissa. I humiliated her, persecuted her, destroyed her. And do you know what she did? She gave me a second chance. She taught me that forgiveness is not weakness. It's the strongest thing that exists. The next day, the NGO received over 200 calls. People wanting to volunteer, companies wanting to donate, schools wanting to partner, families wanting to bring their children to visit. Larissa, we're going to need a bigger space, Rodrigo said, looking at the line of people at the door. I don't want to grow too much and lose the essence, she replied, concerned. You won't lose it. You are the essence. Wherever you are, love will be. That night, Larissa returned to her yellow house, exhausted but happy. She lit the candle on Isabella's shrine. My daughter, you won't believe what happened today. More than 100 children came to the NGO. 100. And do you know who helped organize everything? Denise, the same one who humiliated me, but now she's different. She truly smiles. She truly hugs the children. Larissa looked at her daughter's photo. I think that's what it was all about, right, my daughter? It wasn't just about toys. It was about teaching that everyone can change, that everyone deserves love, that no one is trash, even when we are treated like trash. She kissed her fingers, touched the photo. Your legacy is becoming bigger than I imagined. And it all started with you, with the girl who never had a toy, but who taught the whole world what really matters. That night, Larissa slept peacefully. For the first time since she lost Isabella, she slept without pain in her chest, because she finally understood. Her daughter hadn't left. She had transformed into thousands of smiles, thousands of hugs, thousands of toys made with love, and that was eternal. 2 years passed since that day in the auditorium that changed everything. The Toys of the Heart NGO had become a national reference. It was no longer just a colorful warehouse in Thabong. There were 5 branches spread across different cities. More than 10,000 children served, hundreds of dedicated volunteers, dozens of partner companies. but the heart of it all remained that original warehouse. And Larissa continued to be Larissa, humble, simple, with the same blue uniform, which was now a symbol of love instead of humiliation. On a sunny Saturday morning, the warehouse was especially full. It was a special event day, the NGO's 2-year anniversary. The municipality had organized a public celebration with the presence of authorities, the press, and hundreds of community members. Larissa was nervous. "I don't like being the center of attention," she told Rodrigo while arranging chairs. "You're not the center," he replied, smiling. "The children are. You're just the bridge." At 10 a.m., the event began. The yard of the warehouse had been transformed into a festive space. Colorful streamers, balloons, tables full of cake, and sweets donated by partners. And in the center, a simple stage with a microphone. The mayor of the city went up first. "It is with immense honor that I am here today. The Toys of the Heart, NGO, is not just a social project. It is a lesson in humanity. And for this reason, on behalf of the city, I have an announcement to make." He gestured to his assistant, who brought a framed plaque. "From today on, the city's central square will be named Isabella Square, where love triumphs over judgment." Larissa covered her mouth with her hands, eyes immediately welling up. The audience erupted in applause. "Isabella," she whispered, her voice breaking, "my daughter's name in a square." Rodrigo, sitting beside her, held her hand. "She deserves it. And so do you," the mayor continued. "And there's more. The municipality will establish an official partnership with the NGO, guaranteeing fixed monthly resources for the expansion of the project. Because this city needs more people like Larissa, people who transform pain into love, more applause, more tears." When Larissa went up on the small stage to speak, her legs trembled so much that she had to hold onto the microphone to keep from falling. I don't know what to say," she began, her voice faltering. 2 years ago, I was invisible. I was the box woman, the cardboard crazy lady, everyone's joke, absolute silence in the audience. Today I'm here surrounded by people I love, seeing my daughter's name in a square, seeing hundreds of happy children. And I need to say something. She took a deep breath, wiped her tears. None of this was because of me, it was because of Isabella. She never had a toy in her life. She died without knowing how good it feels to have something just to play with, and that destroyed me. But at the same time, it built me, because her pain became purpose, her emptiness became fullness for other children. People started to cry, and I need to thank you. Thank Rodrigo, who saw in me what no one else saw. Thank Roberto, who left everything to work here. Thank Patricia, who had the courage to change. Patricia, in the middle of the audience, was crying copiously. And I even want to thank Denise. Everyone looked at Denise, sitting in the corner with her head down. "Denise, stand up," Larissa requested. She hesitated, but stood. "You hurt me a lot, but you also taught me that no one is just a villain. Everyone has hidden pain, and you had the courage to face yours. Thank you for showing me that forgiveness heals both sides." Denise broke down in tears. Several people around her hugged her. Larissa looked at the audience. "Do you know what I learned in these 2 years? I learned that the world judges by appearance, by the way you dress, by the way you speak, by the cardboard boxes you carry. But the truth is different. The truth is that a person's value is in what they do when no one is looking. It's in the love they give for free. It's in the kindness they plant without expecting to harvest." She pointed to the children sitting in front. "These children taught me more than any university teaches. They taught me that happiness doesn't cost a lot. It costs time, it costs attention, it costs love, and everyone can give that." The audience was hypnotized. So, if you're hearing this story and think you have nothing to offer, you're wrong. You have everything. You have hands to help, you have a heart to love, you have a voice to defend, and you have a choice. The choice to be a bridge or a wall, to be light or shadow. She looked up at the sky as if speaking directly to Isabella. "My daughter is no longer here, but she lives. She lives in every toy we make, in every smile we elicit, in every child who sleeps happily, hugging a cardboard aeroplane. Isabella did not die. She multiplied." Sepulchral silence. Then, from the middle of the audience, a child's voice shouted, "Auntie Larissa! Auntie Larissa!" It was Melissa, now 8 years old, taller, more confident, but with the same radiant smile. She climbed onto the small stage without asking permission, took the microphone. "Everyone, I need to say something. When I was 6, I had nothing. My family is poor, we barely had enough to eat, and toys. Forget about it, until Auntie Larissa came into my life. Melissa looked at Larissa with those bright eyes. She gave me my first toy, a cardboard aeroplane, and I thought it was the most beautiful object in the world because it was made with love. And do you know what happened? The little girl turned to the audience. That aeroplane changed my life, because when I saw that someone cared about me, I started to care about myself too. I started to study more. I started to dream more. And do you know what my dream is now? Expectant silence. When I grow up, I want to be like Auntie Larissa. I want to help children like me. I want to make toys. I want to spread love because she taught me that we don't need to be rich to be important. We just need to have a heart. The audience exploded. Standing ovation, widespread crying, hugs everywhere. Larissa knelt to Melissa's height and hugged her so tightly that the two almost fell. You are already important, my love. You are the most beautiful thing in this world. The event continued with presentations, raffles, and games. But the most significant moment had already happened. At the end of the afternoon, when everyone had left, Larissa was left alone in the warehouse. She walked among the tables full of finished toys, ran her hand over the piles of cardboard boxes, looked at the children's drawings on the wall, and smiled. A clean, true smile of someone who had finally found peace. Rodrigo appeared at the door. May I come in? Of course. He approached, stood beside her, looking at the warehouse. You did it, Larissa. You changed the world. I didn't change the world. I changed some hearts that changed other hearts, that will change more hearts. That's bigger than me. Exactly. It's a legacy. Larissa looked at him. Thank you for everything, for following me that day, for believing, for investing, not only money, but time, sweat, love. I thank you. You reminded me why I'm alive. It's not to accumulate, it's to multiply. The two stood in comfortable silence for a few minutes. You know what's funny? Larissa said. I spent years thinking that Isabella had been stolen from me, that life had been unfair, but now I see it differently. How so? Isabella came into the world with a purpose. It wasn't to stay, it was to teach me, to transform me, to plant a seed that would grow and nourish thousands. She fulfilled her mission. Larissa looked at Isabella's photo, which now hung on the central wall of the warehouse, surrounded by children's drawings. And I'm fulfilling mine. That night, before leaving, Larissa wrote a letter to Isabella. She placed it on the shrine in her house, along with the candle that never went out. My dearest daughter, today they named a square after you. People will pass by there every day. They will sit on the benches. They will take their children to play, and they will read, Isabella Square. Your name will not be forgotten. Your story will not be erased. You had no toys, but you became the reason thousands of children have them. You had no time, but your time was worth more than 100 years of many people. Thank you, my daughter, for choosing me as your mother, for teaching me that pain can turn into love, for showing me that nothing is in vain. I love you, always will, and I promise, as long as I live, your legacy will continue. Your mother, Larissa. And so the woman who carried empty boxes taught the world that emptiness can be filled, that trash can turn into treasure, that pain can turn into purpose. And that love, even when it seems as small as a cardboard aeroplane, it can change the entire world.